It's Ports a Call waterfront dining, award-winning service and cuisine with a view of the dynamic L.A. harbor from every seat. For reservations and directions, visit portsacalldining.com or call 310-833-3553.
Welcome to another edition of Living Out Loud. I'm Barbara Venezia, and I'm here with my co-host, Rene Horsch, and Dr. Jorge Rodriguez. Welcome, guys.
Hi, long time no see.
I know. We're back in the saddle.
We're back in action. Woo!
Oh my gosh,
Look
I
out.
hit so much traffic. I am sorry I'm late today. We are a few minutes late starting our podcast today.
It was heavy. I missed the turn. I went over the bridge.
Oh my God.
Well, but you had to go over two bridges to get
No, but
here.
I went over the big green bridge. What's it called? The St. Vincent's Bridge? Or
I
something?
don't know.
Oh, you
Go
went
over
that
the
big
bridge.
one. Oh.
There's a whole world over there, and the other side, it's full of it's. They pick things up with, cars and.
Oh,
Anyway,
the cranes, right?
The cranes,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
Go over the bridge.
Yeah. So, hey, I was looking to, Renee's our Hollywood connection, and I saw that Fred Heyman passed away, 90 years old.
I know, 91 it said.
91.
Yeah. He has a really interesting backstory. He started as the food and beverage manager at the Ambassador Hotel where the Coconut Grove was down on Wilshire
where my
Boulevard.
husband Stan worked.
Yeah, and so that was like in the 1950s, and I think in 1960, 61, he bought a property on Rodeo Drive. Back then, it was just Rodeo Drive was not what it is today.
Yes.
It had a little bridle path down the middle for horses to go up and down. And
Wow.
Yeah, it was really incredible. And Nolan told me, he had...
Nolan Miller.
Okay. my mentor. Yeah. And
I want to count. One pin dropped. Okay.
Okay,
Name drop.
yeah, all right, name drop. Okay. Anyway, no, but Nolan told me that his backstory was fascinating because he was the food and beverage manager down there, and he bought the property there, and he opened up a store called Giorgio Beverly Hills.
Yes.
And then it was like it had all the finest designer names of its day back in its day, and it also upstairs had a bar. And and a pool table, so the men could come while the women would shop, and they could go to the bar, and they'd have their drinks, and they'd play pool, and get loaded and spend more money. And
did they come out with the Giorgio perfume?
They came out with Giorgio perfume, and that was like it. And it was such a huge success that in the 1980s, he actually was pumping it on Rodeo Drive. So before
What do you mean pumping it? And he was spraying
he was
in
spraying
the air?
outside of his store. He would spray. So before you even got, half a block before, you'd smell in the air this Giorgio fragrance. And it became such a huge hit that Avon actually bought the fragrance, I think, in 1987 for $45 million or something like that. Yeah.
I remember walking on Rodeo Drive and seeing the yellow and white awning.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah.
Yellow and white.
Awning.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
and so then fast forward to it must have been like the year 1999, 2000, around there. He ended up leasing the land to Louis Vuitton.
Oh.
Because he's like, I can't sell enough dresses to the money that Louis Vuitton, it's corporate money.
Right.
So they were paying, I think, back then like $100,000, like in 1999.
In rent?
In rent, yeah. Wow. Now the rents on Rodeo Drive are like $200,000 to $350,000, $400,000 a month, and so he just cashed out. I mean, because he owned the actual property there on the corner. He's a landowner on Rodeo Drive. That's huge.
That's huge.
So he's like, why am I selling these dresses? He said to Nolan, he's like, this is crazy. So the moral of the story, I said to Nolan, I said, well, what happened to you? I'm like, he bought. I'm like no,
he
had
got
a very
in early.
Yeah, he. I'm like, I said, I said, Nolan, you missed the boat. You bought a building on Robertson Boulevard, south of Wilshire. Come on, he had the right idea.
And that's why I love L.A. There's always a story. I mean, it's so interesting.
Right?
There
it's crazy.
There's so much of history there.
It is. It's one of those like rags to riches stories.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that he was like putting perfume out on the street.
I mean, you couldn't do that today.
No, I think they do that
the
in. I think they do that in.
environmentalists would
They
go
do that
after
in
you.
Vegas. I think they like spray cocaine when you're in a casino. Don't you? Don't you always
Totally,
never sleep?
I know, right?
They spray something in there.
Well, I think, the rumor always was that they had oxygen that they would spraying in to keep you awake. I don't know if that's
now they just
true
hand
or
out
not.
Adderalls, right? And while they're
Don't
passing
look
out
at
cocktails.
me when you say that.
Well, you are
I have
the
a
doctor.
license.
You are the
in
doctor,
I have a
right?
license. That is one of the most abused drugs. We'll make a segment about that.
I want
Adderall.
some of that. That's good
What
stuff.
is Adderall?
Okay,
Adderall is
yeah.
Adderall. This is mine. You talked about dresses.
Okay,
I'll talk
okay,
about drugs.
Okay, yeah. It's all yours.
dresses
The
to
floor is yours.
There's
It's all
not a
yours.
big difference between dresses and drugs,
Yeah.
actually, not in L.A.
Yeah, this is true.
Some people keep their drugs in their dresses. But anyway, basically Adderall is methamphetamine. It's amphetamine. It's an
Really?
upper. It's crack in a
So
pill.
why do they prescribe it to you?
Because it has been shown to work for some people that have attention deficit disorder. But it is so abused now because everybody's taking it as a stimulant to study, to stay awake. I can't tell you, it really is epidemic.
Well, it's interesting that you say that because I just was a friend of mine, her daughter's 16 years old, and the daughter's boyfriend is on Adderall for like Monday through Friday, but doesn't take it on the weekends because he needs to. It helps him study and focus, and for real.
Wow.
When we were
yeah.
young, we'd say, "You're stupid. Study and focus."
No, seriously,
Seriously,
have,
what the hell do you need a pill for?
Well, my grandmother said if you were feeling tired, just take Geritol. And remember
Geritol?
Geritol? And
Yeah, of
I
course.
think
It's
basically it was
vitamins.
caffeine and sugar.
Caffeine, sugar, and fat. I think that's fixes everything.
Those are
Yeah.
the stimulants, right? Those are the legal ones, right?
Well, so everyone now seems to suffer from attention deficit.
Exactly. I mean, it's ridiculous because, I mean, before we would just say, all right, I wasn't paying attention,
Right.
focus, but now everything has to be fixed with a pill?
Well, yeah, and
Seriously.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, everybody's attention span's small. Why did we reduced our hour-long show to 15-minute podcasts, right?
Actually,
seriously.
part of that, and I could expound on that because people do have a short attention span. Right now, you get your news in snippets. You don't
Right.
listen to it. And I think that's affecting everything in the culture, including how we communicate, including politics, because people don't like to delve into the real.
That's absolutely. I cover politics
data,
locally
nobody
in
wants to
Newport,
hear
Costa
that.
Mesa, and people just want a soundbite.
They want a soundbite.
And
So
you can't really understand your issues in a soundbite.
No, and even the way we communicate with emojis. Give
And
me a
text
break
messages.
and text.
Text messages.
Soon we won't
Oh
have
my
to
God.
talk. Soon you'll know what I'm thinking right now.
Yeah. No, but let me.
I don't think I want to know what you're thinking.
Oh, I do.
much
I do.
effort.
He does.
Yeah. He already gave me some insight before we started.
Shush. We
Yeah.
don't talk about that.
We don't talk about that,
No.
right? It's a clean show, right?
No, but I mean,
For
how
now.
long is supposed to be your attention span?
Well, it all depends. I mean, part of the problem is they say that right now we're getting information so quickly that we don't even digest it long enough to form what are called engrams, which are actual memories. It's like a computer, information in, information out. Before, there wasn't that information, so you could really remember stuff.
Yeah.
So now it's like coming in and going out, coming in, going out. And
So that being said, what about the young kids today that are actually going to med school? How are they going to be? Because that's a lot of
They're
information
taking
that-
Adderall.
Okay, there you go. And lawyers, right? I guess
I'm not
yeah.
kidding. I'm serious. I can think of patients that come in and like they've been diagnosed. I don't prescribe it unless the patient has a diagnosis of it. Because really,
really?
it is. Yeah, I'm
You can't
sorry.
come in?
No, you can't
Really?
come in. You can come in.
Okay. All right, I'll get my Botox.
Give
whatever.
me your copay, and I'll say
Okay.
no.
But you know what it is? I'm going to change lanes for a minute. It is flu and cold season, and it seems like everyone I know
Yeah.
is sick.
Yes.
And I don't know what the difference is between having the flu or having a cold.
Okay. You want me to tell you?
Yes.
Really
Yeah.
important. First of all, I wonder how many of these people didn't get their flu vaccine.
I got mine.
Okay,
I
good.
didn't get
September
Do you
of
know I have never
2015.
gotten one?
You're afraid of becoming autistic. No, I'm
No,
kidding. That's
no.
not even funny.
That's what I
that's
hear.
not
Like,
Oh, don't even
yeah.
no, that's
Don't even
another
go there.
show.
That's okay. That's just a myth, right?
It has not been proven at all to cause autism vaccines. There are more autistic children now because we're finding more. We know what autism is. Also, if you want to think about it, men and women are having children later in life.
This
Right.
is true.
I'm sorry,
Right.
the eggs get old.
They get
It
stale.
gets stale. And they don't make little chickadees.
They just said that Janet Jackson got pregnant. I guess she's recently pregnant. She's 50,
Oh my
50 years
God!
old now.
Talk
Really?
about a horror story.
Oh my God, this could be like.
But speaking of mucus, let me tell you about.
all right,
All right, here's a cold.
Interesting segue.
A cold, you have fever, sore throat, sneezy, all right? And you just, you don't really cough a lot.
That's
all
a
right?
cold.
That's a cold. A flu, you feel like you got run over by a truck. Your body aches, you have a high fever, you have a headache, all right? So a flu is actually caused by a virus that invades your whole body, so you feel bad from head to toe.
So how do you get a cold?
From somebody coughing on you, the same way that you catch a
germs
flu.
are everywhere. Our hands. Are
So
the
it's
most-
not like, okay, I went out and I didn't wear a hat.
No, or underwear. It is not that.
Well, in your case, maybe, right?
You know?
Are you telling us something?
No, no. So it isn't. That's an old wives' tale, or an old, and you know. And what's funny is when you learn it as a kid, no matter how educated you are, you still do it. Because I tell people here, you know, be sure to wear your sweater. You're going to get a cold. You're not going to get a cold.
That's what I heard.
You know,
I thought if you covered your head and you wore a, a scarf, that you wouldn't get a cold.
and here's the key about both of them. All right, antibiotics do not treat either of them.
Really?
Yes, antibiotics are for bacteria. One day we have to talk about the difference between bacteria and a virus. There is really no treatment for a virus. Now, however, if you do have a flu, you can take some medications that are like amantadine or Tamiflu if you catch it within 48 hours. And what it'll do, it'll decrease the symptoms and make you feel better quicker. All right, but it's not a
But what about a Z-Pak?
All right, that's an antibiotic.
Okay, so that really doesn't work
No,
on any of
a
this.
Z-Pak is for sinuses, for bronchitis, for an pneumonia, an infection in the lungs. And that's why you have to go to a doctor and have them listen to your lungs. Listen, I am probably as guilty as any doctor. When you're busy and somebody calls and you know who you are.
Yeah,
You know, you know, I need a Z-Pak, doc. I'm like, oh my God, what a pain in the butt. Yes, okay, here's your Z-Pak. It's totally wrong. You know, it's totally wrong.
Well, everybody thinks a Z-Pak is like the Band-Aid for all that stuff, and
Right.
it's not, right?
No, it's
Yeah.
not. Listen, did you ever watch the Beverly Hillbillies?
Yes.
Yeah, I
There
totally
was an
love that
episode.
show.
There was an episode where Granny supposedly had a cold, had the cure for a common cold.
It was her moonshine.
It was her moonshine, and she has a great
Yeah.
line. She says, "Look, if you take my moonshine, it'll only last 7 days, and if you don't, it'll last a week." It does nothing.
I love that show.
I did. I loved it. And
Yeah.
I guess most of them, all of them are gone now. I guess.
Yeah, Donna
Max-
just died.
Douglas.
Donna
Donna
Douglas.
Douglas just
Yeah.
passed away, and I think
She died with her
Max-
pigtails on. I
Max
heard.
Bear is he still alive?
Oh,
I
I
think
don't
he might
know.
be the only Jethro. I think he might
Jethro.
be the only one. Well, someone Google it.
Google it.
Google it. All right. What about Dash Riprock? Remember him?
I do.
Yeah,
How can we
right?
not?
Love
Oh,
that. I love that name. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, don't show all your cards.
And on that note, I think we're going to take a break.
All right. Woo.